Last Sunday, a man finished the city to surf, walked up to the memorial for the 15 people murdered at Bondi, and knelt in front of it in a race bib with "Free Palestine" written where your name normally goes. His name is Séamus Ó Cruadhlaoich, and he claims he was paying his respects.
All I want is for peace and unity between all.
He's even posted a video calling me a racist for questioning him.
The man who made that post, that post that I'm in front of here in this video is a racist post.
Racist, of course. But let's take a closer look, because he's told us himself on social media exactly what he was doing that morning. First, let's deal with the racism smear. It's predictable and it takes 10 seconds.
This man is calling all Muslim people, he's painting all of us with the one brush, which is a racist post.
I called out one person, him, nobody else, for what he was wearing, for where he stood, and for what he chose to do there. Now, leaving aside for a moment that Islam is not a race, criticising a single man for his own conduct is actually the opposite of tarring everyone with the one brush, which is what racists do. It's simply treating a grown man as being responsible for himself and his actions. Now, to his video. In a post to Instagram on his account called Up Your Own Hole, fittingly, he apologised twice, at length, passionately, from the bottom of his heart.
I would like to sincerely apologise from the bottom of my heart.
But was he apologising to the Jewish community whose monument he just desecrated? No, he was apologising twice to Muslims. Why? Because he was wearing shorts and showing his kneecaps.
I should be covered more. My knees should be covered, and my skin should be covered more as I pray as a Muslim. I was just after running a race. I just walked up to the monument, and it just felt right at the time. So I'm really sorry if any Muslim is looking at this and is horrified by the way.
15 people were murdered at Bondi on the 14th of December, murdered at a Hanukkah celebration for no reason at all except that they were Jewish. And he desecrated their memorial. He didn't apologise to them, no. He didn't apologise to their families either. Not a word. You know who he apologised to? He apologised to his comrades and Muslims. Why? For his kneecaps. And then he finished by calling people like me and like thousands of other Australians and millions of Jews a disease of the planet.
I wouldn't even say I don't have respect. I have less than respect. I have nothing for these people. They're a disease of the planet.
That's some apology. And after his so-called apology, he even signed off with "fuck Israel."
Anyway, I'm in work. I better go back to work. Fuck Israel.
Now that's the peace and harmony he and the people in comments want us to believe? I don't think so. He wants you to believe it was spur of the moment. He'd just run a race and it felt right to him at the time.
I was just after running a race. I just walked up to the monument and it just felt right at the time. I just felt it was right to prostrate in front of it while talking to Allah and praying for peace and harmony within all communities and all society all over the world.
How touching. But let's look at some facts. He ran in a race wearing a bib reading "Free Palestine." He was wearing a top emblazoned with a map that completely erases the Jewish state of Israel and millions of Jews who'd be wiped out. Now, not a border, not a territory, the whole lot. He walked hundreds of metres to a memorial to 15 people, mostly murdered Jews, at 9:01 in the morning, which isn't even one of the obligatory Islamic prayer times. It was just a random time in the morning. He then faced in a direction which he now concedes was also the wrong one.
I'm praying. I'm not pointing in the right direction either.
Now, was that spur of the moment? Well, that's a lot of spontaneity for one bloke on a Sunday morning. Now, let's go and look at his social media account, because his real mission is in his bio. It's in his profile picture. He has highlight reels he's entitled Marathon and Marathon 4. One of them, a run in Sydney, which was deliberately timed to coincide with one in Cork, Ireland. This is a man who turns races, which should be fun, into activism. Now, that's not my own accusation, that's his own posts.
Please get your donations in.
Congratulations, runners.
I'll let you know time and stuff after.
Have fun out there.
I wasn't really doing it for a time,
Did you get a PB?
but thank you so much to everyone who's donated.
On the beach
Races
side
ran.
now, your medals will be
And-
just ahead, your well-earned medals.
Yeah, who's
It'll be
donate?
station just
Got me on
after
the
the
good.
race.
I'll see you socks.
You got a PW?
Slán go fóil. Shukran. Got me the
But here's the part that completely destroys his claim. He posted something on the 4th of August. Now that's 5 days before the City to Surf. And in his post, he explains that the City to Surf supports the Jewish Communal Appeal and that the JCA in turn funds the Community Security Group. Those are the people who stand outside Jewish schools and synagogues so that Jewish children and congregants inside can be kept safe.
The JCA are proudly supporting the CSG group. So City to Surf is a complete boycott.
So his decision from that, he was appalled. And I'm quoting him, so City to Surf is a complete boycott. A boycott, his word. Despite which, he ran in it anyway, maybe to get attention. He asked his followers to sponsor him, to come and meet him at the finish line, and he described the whole exercise as countering, and these are his words, the Zionist entity here in Australia.
Let's do it for Gaza. Let's do it to counter the Zionism. Not even just to ignore it, but to actual counter the Zionist entity here in Australia. So please donate, and please, if you can come to the finish line, that'd be great too.
Now, this wasn't a private thought. He posted it publicly and jointly with another activist's account. Now, underneath his post, a supporter wrote in the comments, "Raise the flag, Habibi, raise the flag while you run." And he replied, again publicly under his own name, "You better believe I will." Remember, that was 5 days before the race. But now he wants you to believe that everything on Sunday was spur of the moment, that he'd just finished running and a feeling suddenly came over him. He'd already promised in writing to turn a fun run into a demonstration of hate. He wasn't overcome, he was executing a plan right on schedule. Now, in that same video, he refers to a text message describing the Premier of New South Wales as Mossad Minns. And then he repeats that claim in his own voice. Now, Chris Minns, who was elected Premier by the people of this state, is apparently taking his orders from a foreign intelligence service. So understand what you're dealing with here. This is not an Irish man with strong opinions about Gaza. Plenty of people have those, and I suppose they're entitled to them. No, this is a man who believes the Premier of New South Wales is a foreign agent working for Israel. This is a man who believes that volunteers guarding Jewish schools are running an illegal outfit. And, as you're about to see, this is a man who believes the Bondi Massacre was a conspiracy and never happened the way you were told.
My focus is on Bondi. It was a real false flag. They weaponise our grief so that they can fly their rag.
This man has publicly described the Bondi Massacre as, and these are his words, a real false flag. A false flag meaning he doesn't believe 2 Islamists murdered 15 Jews at Bondi. He believes it was an Israeli conspiracy. He believes all those Jewish people were murdered by the Jewish state. Now hold that against his explanation. After I called him out, he wants you to believe he knelt at that memorial to pay his respects to the victims. People in comments agreed with him, sympathised with him. He wanted to pray for the people taken in that horrific event. But he's already told the world that those victims weren't killed by Islamists at all or their ideology. He's claimed that the Jews did it to themselves. Now, both claims can't be true. He has to pick one, and whichever one he picks, he's just told us what he was actually doing on that grass on Sunday morning. And it gets worse. On his own Instagram, there's a highlight he's titled Hero. Who's this hero? It's Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader and the architect of the 7th of October. Séamus Ó Cruadhlaoich has called a terrorist leader of Hamas a hero. Séamus Ó Cruadhlaoich has called to globalise the Intifada. He's gone after Chabad, the Jewish group that organised the Hanukkah celebration, where 15 people were murdered.
So, this man here
That is Rabbi Shmuel Shapiro. He is a part of Chabad, which is a Zionist organisation here in Sydney.
He's gone after the JCA and the CSG, so that's a group for community recovery and a group for community security for the Jewish community. These are the people who pick up the pieces and the people who try to stop Jewish people being hurt, and he's gone after them. And he's even promoted hate against a young woman held hostage by Hamas and against the synagogue that gave her a room just to speak in. And that's a man who now wants you to believe he stopped by a memorial for a quiet moment of peace and harmony. Now, a word about how people end up in this place. Now, not him, anyone. These radical movements are very good at finding people who are looking for something. People coming out of a hard few years, people who are lonely or disaffected or who want to feel like they matter. And they're suddenly offered a cure, a cause, a community, and something better than that, a target. Someone else to blame for everything that went wrong in their own life. Drugs, alcohol, unemployment, mental illness. They're given absolution with a villain attached. And the cynical ploy works. It's always worked. Every extremist movement in history has been built on the backs of other people who were hurting and were handed someone to hate and blame. Now, this isn't a character flaw in the vulnerable people they recruit. I feel sorry for many of them. It's a recruitment strategy. And it's also why these very toxic movements never run short of new foot soldiers to their toxic cause. Last September, he shared a petition on Facebook. The petition is titled, and I'm reading it word for word, "Deport New Zealand-born immigrant Thomas Sewell." Now, 145,000 people signed that petition, and well, on that, he and I agree. Sewell is a neo-Nazi, he's a scumbag, and, you know, if he were to go, good riddance. But think about what our man signed up to. The petition's own words are that violent extremism and racial hatred must not be allowed to flourish without consequence, that citizenship is a privilege and those who abuse it to harm others should face consequences, and that reform is not discriminatory because it applies equally. Read that again, applies equally. So, our friend has already told us what he believes. If you come to this country from somewhere else, maybe Ireland, bring an ideology of hatred with you, you don't get to stay. And that isn't my standard, it's his. He shared it, he agreed with it, he promoted it, he asked other people to agree with it and to sign it. So here's what he mightn't have thought through. Thomas Sewell is an Australian citizen, like it or not. Removing him would take a High Court case and an entire Act of Parliament being rewritten. The petition admits that at length. But this man came here from Ireland. Now, I don't know his immigration status and I won't pretend to, but on the balance of probability, I suspect he's here on a visa rather than a passport, which means the test that applies to him is a whole lot simpler than the one he wanted applied to Thomas Sewell. And if in fact he is a visitor to this country, as I suspect, well, he, not me, he picked the standard for deportation. I'm just asking that it be applied evenly. One last thing. He's very cross that I commented on his style of prayer, so I'll use his words rather than mine. He says,
I don't even know the full prayers yet off by heart, so I was just speaking to Allah in my own way and saying certain keywords repeatedly. I would like to apologise to all Muslims out there who are looking at that post and looking at me horrified in the way that I'm praying. I can only apologise. I'm still new, I'm still learning.
Okay, fine. I'll take him at his word. He's only been a Muslim for a few weeks or months. He's new, he's learning, he hasn't got the fundamentals yet. Okay. Now, I'm no authority on Islamic prayer, but even I know that when you pray, you're meant to face Mecca with your head, not your backside. So, having converted to Islam, he is absolutely clueless about it. Yet, in the very same video, he's ranting about Zionism and he's giving us all his opinion on an entire century of Middle Eastern history. He's giving that to the rest of us. But this man who concedes he can't manage the absolute basics of the Islamic faith he converted to has nevertheless appointed himself a commentator on an entire region. Basically, he's another graduate of the Instagram School of Middle Eastern Affairs. Old mate was sorry about his kneecaps, but he wasn't sorry about the 15 people murdered. And he says the Jews did it to themselves. That's the whole man right there.